everyone, welcome back to 996 The Howl. If you want to keep your NHL head coaching job, fail at tanking and you'll get rewarded. The head coach for the Arizona Coyotes, Tourigny, he was an unknown coach before joining the Coyotes, did a lot of work in juniors, Team Canada, gets a 3-year extension on his contract. His current contract is one more season, which is this upcoming season. So we're looking at 4 more years of Bear, his nickname, a total of 7 years with the Coyotes if he manages to fulfill the contract. That would be the longest head coach we've had since Dave Tippett. Big shoes to fill. Tourigny, like I said, failed at tanking last year. He's been set up for not success the past 2 seasons, and then finally last season, I think Bill Armstrong realized we can't tank anymore. Either this coach is too good, the coach is too good to tank. He's getting so much out of our core players, such as Keller, Schmaltz, Hayden, Krause. They've had career years under Tourigny and not Rick Tocchet. We'll get into some of the numbers here. Big improvements on a couple categories, and I expect a lot of these categories to increase even further in this upcoming season. This upcoming season will be the first season where the team is not intentionally tanking and they actually have talent throughout their lineup. They're not just 1 or 2 lines heavy. Their forward group is unbelievably talented. In terms of Coyotes, from their perspective, obviously not comparing it across the NHL. So I'm really excited to see how Tourigny works with a roster that's talented and see where that goes, because looking at his past history, when he has a talented roster, he does really well. 2-time Ontario Hockey League Coach of the Year, 1-time Canadian Hockey League Coach of the Year, gold medal as an assistant coach in 2020 with the World Juniors for Team Canada. Hayden was on that team. Silver medal as head coach for the World Juniors in 2021. Gold medal as head coach for the World Cup that ended a couple months ago. McBain, Krause, and Carconi was on that team. So yeah, when he's got a good team under his belt, usually it proves to success for Andre. We'll get into it here. In his first season with the Coyotes, goals for per game, last place, 2.51. It increased to 2.74, a slight increase, but they got 27th overall in goals for per game. Goals against per game, his first season, bottom of the barrel, 30th in the league. 3.60 last season, which was good for 24th. The biggest increase on this board is power play, going up over 5%. But, in terms of standings of teams, they went from 30th to 24th. Penalty killing, slight decrease, but pretty much the same. I do expect their penalty killing and face-off numbers to be much, much better this upcoming season. Those are 2 areas where I want the team to improve on, along with goals against per game and goals for per game. I want them to hit, almost 3 goals per game. I want to see that next season. Goals against needs to be below 3, or at least hovering at 3, for goodness sake. Penalty killing needs to be much better as well. Shooting percentage. This is like the only category where the Coyotes are like above average in terms of comparing themselves across the league. His first season, they were 15th overall in shooting percentage, and last year they were 11th overall, scoring at 10.6% of their shots. However, one of the head scratchers about Tourigny's system, or whether it's because of lack of talent, they've been at the bottom of the league by a big margin in terms of shots per game. Now that could mean that the Coyotes are lethal, they're efficient in their shot selection, but for me, I would like to see the Coyotes shoot a bit more. Not to say that if you don't have like a top 5 shots per game, you're winning the cup. It doesn't translate like that, but I would like to see their games where they shoot a lot more. It just tells me more of an offensive type game. They're controlling the game a bit more possession. These past 2 years, it seems like, the shots are so lopsided. Sometimes it's like 10-1 the other team for the Coyotes, but at the same time, they're like winning that game 1-0 or only down 1 goal. It's that rope a yote is the term we use where you just get pummeled in terms of shots, but you're still in the game. You're one goal away, and most of the time the Coyotes win that game. It turns out to be a funny, entertaining game, but moving forward with this new contract, with the new roster, I would like to see them possess the puck more, get more offensive pressure, control the game more, dominate the game more than their opponent, where they've been on the other side of it for 2 straight seasons. Save percentage, bit of a head scratcher here as well. 894 in his first year, was good for 25th in the league, and then slight increase, only by like 0.03 percentage points, was good for 17th overall in the league. So they had almost league average goaltending, if you can believe it, last season in what was supposed to be a tank year. And again, their face-off percentages are pretty bad too. Again, not to say you need to have over 50% face-offs to win the cup. Just, it's better if your team wins face-offs than loses a face-off. You start with possession, you have control, you get to dictate the play. Again, for me, face-offs, penalty killing, more shots on goal, more possession. I just want the Coyotes to turn into a team where they dictate the game more as opposed to just reacting to the other team. Going back to Andre Tourigny and how he coaches, a lot of players love this guy. They respect him. He seems to be a really good humanitarian, just like Shane Doan, who we're familiar with. He doesn't really harp on players' mistakes and demotes them to the bottom of their lines like we saw with Rick Tocchet. Sometimes we saw Schmaltz on the 4th line, Garland on the 4th line. That meme of the short leash line of Garland, Schmaltz, and Keller. Rick Tocchet would say, as long as they score goals, I'll keep them together. And then one game, they have a bad game and then never puts them together ever again. Andre Tourigny isn't like that. He's willing to give the benefit of the doubt, willing to teach and grow players, unlock their talent, and not make players so terrified to make mistakes, which we saw with Schmaltz and Keller, where their point totals were really low under Rick Tocchet and then just flourished under Andre Tourigny. The reason for the extension, I know he has 1 year left. The way to go in sports and obviously in the NHL, it's commonplace that you should not head into a season where your coach doesn't have more than 1 year left. If you're going into a season and the coach is on his last year, that doesn't really bode well for the locker room, and it kind of sends signals to the locker room, to the fans, that hey, we're kind of just waiting and seeing how this guy goes, and then we either re-sign him or move on to someone else. So it's a good sign that management and the organization has faith in Tourigny. Bill Armstrong believes that with talent, he'll get that magic that Tourigny achieved in his junior career with the Ottawa 67s and his national career with Team Canada and Hockey Canada. So congratulations to Bear. My thoughts, I thought I would have gone with a 2-year extension so that we have 3 more years. The fact that we have 4 more years of Andre Tourigny, it's a bit long. We still haven't seen what he's capable of with a really good, talented roster. So for me, that's kind of my risk reward. I would have liked a 2-year contract, and then you have 3 years of really good rosters, and then you can decide from there. Do I think Andre Tourigny could get this team to a conference final? My heart really says no, I don't think so. In the next 4 years, I think the Coyotes need to make the playoffs 2 out of these 4 years at least for Andre Tourigny to get another extension. I think if they only make the playoffs once, they get swept or they lose in 5 games in the first round, that shows me we kind of need a more experienced coach to take this team over the hump, which, those are my reasons why I would have went with a 2-year extension. The 3-year extension, just, what if this is him? Obviously we saw a little bit of a step forward, but we really need to see huge steps forward this upcoming season because he no longer has the roster to blame for the lack of talent. But I'm happy for him. We'll see how it goes. I hope he lives out the whole contract because that would probably mean the Coyotes have made the playoffs and are playing really well and an exciting team to watch, and the players are really happy. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.